celebrating 25 years of Pops. It's Pops 2025. And now, the Senior Master of First United Methodist Church, Brad Britton.
I was looking for you. You're back there, so thank you, Wes.
I didn't want to upstage you, Pastor.
Okay, I was like, it's God with that voice. God is somewhere in here talking. Welcome, everyone. We're so glad you're here. This is the 25th year of Pops, and normally at the end we do standing ovation for a great performance. What if we did one at the beginning for all their work and for Amy? How about a standing ovation for what they've done to get here? And you may be seated, and I'll open us with a prayer, and then we're going to have a great time. And I cannot wait to see what David Johnson's going to be tonight. I already know, and you're going to be thrilled. Let's pray. God, thank you for this evening and for the fun that we share together and the gift of music, and just for this opportunity to be blessed by those who've given so much of their time to serve in this way. In Christ's name, amen.
Good evening and welcome, everyone. My name is Wes Sherman, and I'm your Master of Ceremonies for tonight. And the only reason I'm your Master of Ceremonies is I had pockets big enough to put this whole show in. I got the script from this late Monday afternoon. Now, that doesn't mean that I hadn't talked to Amy before we got it. And it took me a little while to put it all together, and I thought, my gosh, what am I going to do with 75 pages of notes? I fixed it. I put it on 4x6 cards. Wings on my pocket are standing out because that's where I put them all. That's the fun part of doing a live show. I can change things just by tossing a card out. But what I won't toss out is the fun we're going to have going back into our memory vault for 25 years of Pops music at First United Methodist Church. How fun is that going to be, I ask you? And you're going to hear more about the history of the Pops as we go through the program, because there are people who know a whole lot more about it than me, and that's fine, because my old brain is old. It don't soak up much these days, and I don't let it. I'm retired. Nothing pushes my hurry-up button, so if we take a little longer, it's okay. Now, if God calls me home, game over. Oh, yeah, I remember. The word synergy, which is what the piece was that Amy and the choir started with. And that word simply means, and I got to read this because you're going to love it, the cooperation of two or more to create a combined effect greater than the sum of their separate effects. Oh, my gosh. Now, before you go running into the freeway with your hair on fire and screaming unintelligibly, "Geez, Louise, there's a science test in the show," let me settle your heart. It just means it's a definition of what do you expect. It's a great way to describe a bell choir. Because, you see, handbell choirs are the ultimate team sport. Each ringer is required to act and react and interact with the other ringers in a way that makes the whole group function. Isn't that a little easier to understand? Whew. Wow. I dumbed that down because Amy told me to. For example, this little bell offers a small but expressive sound. Now, this little bigger bell puts a little foundation under the building, don't you see? And then you get to this big mamu down here on the end. And that ties everything together. Because, dear friends, in your heart, you feel it in your rear end more than you hear it in your ears when that bell rings. Now, you get to the thing when each member, playing individually, interacts with the others in a way that we call synergy. Ladies and gentlemen, they worked tirelessly for 3 minutes last night to do that perfectly for you tonight, so would you give them a hand of applause? Now for that something old I mentioned when we started. Valse les adieux. Don't say that the first thing in the morning. It's an old favorite of this group, and the piece is actually titled Remembrance, which translates to Farewell Waltz. And it brings us to our first audience participation moment. How fun is that going to be? I'm asking you. Go ahead and clap for yourselves because you're going to be in this show. Trust me. Come on, clap for yourself. Good. That means that you're coachable. Now the poll. Carla David, you can't cheat on this, okay? They told me you couldn't play. I don't know why. I'm going to stop for a minute. Because Carla David, I do know, is the founder of what we enjoy today. And she put the bell ministry on the map at First United Methodist Church, Round Rock. And has given more than 30 years of service in teaching, choir members, students of all ages, to ring with heart, to become part of a team, and to bring that synergy as a member of a bell choir. So Carla, would you stand for us tonight? Don't sit down. Because I got one question for you that only you can answer.
Okay.
This is for you.
Thank you.
They're supposed to have it turned on up there for you. As you began the ministry, what was your vision for the POPS program's future?
That it would go on forever.
That's a pretty good answer. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Carla David, and thank you for being part of our audience tonight. Now, Carla, I'm going to let you play too. I don't care what Amy told me before the show. And there comes that poll. For those of you who have attended POPS regularly over the years, can you name the first year that Valse Les Adieux was performed? If you remember it, just shout it right out.
2001.
Somebody cheated. Merciful heavens, that was almost 25 years ago. It was performed in this group, and it was mentioned tonight as an old favorite, and it was first presented because of its favorites. It's been featured two other times, once in 2009 and again in 2015, and it quickly has become a favorite of this group tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope that Valse Les Adieux will become one of your favorites too. You know, one of the best things about our Pops concerts is that we can play a variety of music and not just pieces that are written for church services, like much of the liturgical music that is written for this extraordinary instrument. This, to a musician and to all organists, is known as the king of instruments, and for good reason. We don't command it as much as it commands from us the perfection to play it. And its beauty is both unique in sight and in sound. Our next piece is played by Ring of Joy, and it definitely is an old favorite. And it's so much fun to play, they tell me. Now, I don't understand that, because ringing bells looks like you just sort of wave your hand and that's it. But they have fun at it. That's all it takes. Speaking of fun, on November the 10th, 1969, some of you will remember that. You're younger enough to get there. Sesame Street premiered. And it still airs today on public television stations all across the country. Now, I know that many of you spent time on Sesame Street as a child because it shows in your face every time we say Sesame Street. Well, let's step back into our audience participation mode for just a second. And I'm going to ask you, does anyone here tonight have a favorite Sesame Street character? Oscar the Grouch? Well, at least she didn't say Brad. Speaking of, Brad, where are you? He's up there. Well, isn't that something? Thank you. Don't sit down. I want you to stand right there. I want you to say something very pastoral to me. Yes. Right now. That's pastoral enough, but there we go. Now, can you do sort of a slow 360 for just a second? Yeah, that's it. Life doesn't need to coach you. You can do this on your own. That's good. You see, Joe and I were chancel choir members here for a number of years, and we were here the first Sunday you came in service to the First United Methodist Church. And brother, I've seen you on this very platform wearing slacks, sports shirts, scuffy shoes, sometimes a robe when somebody dresses you in the back. But tonight, you're wearing a suit and tie? Really? Wow. Thank you, Brad. You may be seated. I did not see that coming. It's going to take a minute to get regrouped on that. Well, you just got to love a senior pastor that cleans up good after a hard day for a special program, and that's what this is tonight. So back to the moment. Our group has brought some of their very favorite Sesame Street characters tonight, and they've waved them at you, and they're sitting around the table. Now, that doesn't mean that their personality represents their favorite character, because some of them will fool you, and some of them won't. And I bet you can probably even sing along with Ring of Joy, but keep your eyes open, because you will never know who may appear before your very eyes on Sesame Street. I'll bring it.
Or should I go to the piano? How you want me to do it?
Yeah, you're going to go to the piano. You're next.
Yes, I'm next. And
I need to get the lid up. Did we miss the big fat bird? Well, that's what I get for having the show in my pocket. The next performer tonight is no stranger to this audience. Saida Kafarova has been in this group for over 2 decades. So please welcome her to the piano and to the stage tonight. I'm going to hand you this microphone. That way they know that you're going to talk in that one and I'm going to talk in this one. See how we work that?
We share.
Yeah.
We share.
We don't share well, they think. Ha! Speaking of sharing, would you share a little bit about the piece of music you're playing tonight?
Can you hear me? Yes. So this is Moonlight Sonata, but it's not the first movement, which is very peaceful and tranquil. It's third movement when the moon goes crazy and thunderstorm strikes. And I just noticed that it's actually the same melody, which he uses for tranquility in the first movement and for the storm in the third movement. That is amazing. I love it, and it matches the AC/DC Thunderstruck just perfectly because they're talking about the same thing.
Thank you, Syed.
You're welcome.
We're going to let you get comfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, what's about to happen now will rock your world. If you don't have garters on your socks, you're going to lose them, and that's okay with us. But ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy Thunderstruck. AC/DC meets Beethoven. My goodness. You know the amazing part of that? At no time did her hands ever leave the end of her arms. Wow. That's amazing. I may have to call my cardiologist. I may be having a moment of excitement, which is not easy at my age, okay? So work with me here. As our next group moves into place, I want to tell you a little about these ringers. Now, this is what we call an intergenerational group. That's a really big word, $1.95, and that word will get you some coffee somewhere around the country. But it includes a family of 4, a father and his son, a grandmother and her granddaughter. Talk about keeping things in the family business. How's that for acting and reacting? Wow. The never-ending stories of who these ringers are brings to the stage each time a performance that is amazing. And sometimes you hear these stories that are not only emotional, but show how tragedy becomes a win when you have teamwork involved, such as the story of Ruby's other arm. Wow. Just a few short weeks ago, Ruby experienced a ringer's nightmare of a situation when she broke her arm. I'm not making this up. It's real. That meant she had one good arm left to ring her bells. That's bells with an S, folks, and one arm. Well, you don't find extra arms on aisle H12 in your friendly Walmart supercenter. They're just not there. What do? We're near the concert. Oh, woe is us. Oh, woe is not. Because a really good friend stepped in to help and became an even more amazing story. And wonderful, and kind of makes you teary-eyed when you think about it. Well, it does. You see, the rest of the story is when Ruby broke her arm and got close to the concert and badly needed to be there, the other arm sort of stepped in. And rather than scrapping the piece, it went on. Because that other arm came in the form of chancel choir member Evelyn Vance. God love her. You see, Evelyn is the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. It was about 1.5 years ago that Evelyn lost her arm to a medical problem. And if you know anything about Evelyn Vance, you know that lady ain't quitting nothing. And she sticks with everything. She's active, she is fun, she's exciting, and she still represents God in every way in her life. Wow! Some of us couldn't say that. Me couldn't say that. But she did. And she jumped right into the role of ringer and was willing to become Ruby's other arm. Now, you've already seen that Ruby's arm is functional. But because we liked it so, we worked on this number as if Ruby's arm was still broke. So, give a hand to Evelyn Vance for her ministry, her worship time, and her focus. Bell Boogie. Here we go again. It's a piece written by James C. Smith. Now, you're going to hear several different techniques as this bell choir performs, including the use of hand chimes in one section. Somebody hold me up a hand chime. People don't know. There we go. Look at this. That's a hand chime. Means nothing to me. I just figure a chime is a big bell you hit with a mallet. Not so much. And Bell Boogie is one of those that the bass really loves in this piece. Please enjoy Bell Boogie. Now we're starting to know what fun really is, aren't we? It's time for another segment. Come on, you're going to say it with me. Of audience participation. Well, you folks aren't a whole lot of fun, are you? The price of the show was right. Yeah. I know what you need, really. We need one of those little computer camera things. Put on Amy's stand up here and watch her facial expressions while she's up here doing this. There is a point in the show where she looks like this. And I'm thinking, Lord, don't let a fly in there. The whole show will go right down the toilet. Well, she's a lot of fun to watch. These guys are a lot of fun to watch. And we want to bring up something historical that in its day was a lot of fun. So I'm going to challenge you. Does anyone in this audience know anything about a little group called the Beatles? Anybody got a favorite Beatles song? Shout it out wherever you are. Favorite Beatles song? Oh, come on. She said yesterday? Oh, you paid her to do that. That's twice somebody has beat me to the punch on audience participation. Wow. Okay. Well, I was going to ask Amy for her favorite. I'm not going to talk to her now. Well, maybe later. Since we had a little science tonight, let's have a little history lesson, shall we? The Beatles originally formed in Liverpool, England. That's a little place across the pond. In 1960, but they played together since 1958. Now, the lineup in 1960 was not the original that came in to be what we know as the Fab Four. The founding members were John Lennon, Paul McCartney, and George Harrison, and they had been playing together in a little skiffle group led by Lennon and was known as the Quarrymen. Now, before Ringo Starr joined the group in 1962, the band had a few other members. A couple in there were Stuart Sutcliffe, who played bass, and then Pete Best, who was the original drummer that Ringo replaced in 1962. Now, when Ringo took over the drums, music changed around the world, and those four became known to us as the Fab Four. Anybody remember their first appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show? Oh, wow. We like to tore our TVs up wanting to get inside that thing just to hug on them. But we couldn't. So we waited till they were on tour. In the early years of the Beatles, Paul McCartney wrote the song Yesterday that was released on the album Help. That's unique. That album was released in 1965. It was tops on all the charts, and we still remember it today. But as the Kindred Ringers play it, we've created a little sideshow that'll take you a little farther back in history. And we're fairly certain that you're going to recognize a few of these little people. Ladies and gentlemen, here are the Kindred Ringers with Yesterday. I want to take an opportunity to bring a music genre to full circle by helping this audience with a little term that I mentioned a moment ago called skiffle group. You see, a skiffle group is a band that plays skiffle music. Go figure. And it's a genre that blends folk and blues and jazz and a little country influence in it, and it's often featured with a mix of traditional and homemade instruments, such as acoustic guitars, washboards, T-basses, and even jugs. Wow! Who'd have thought? The extraordinary part of this particular lesson is that skiffle actually started in the United States in the early 20th century. But it became really big in the United Kingdom in 1950, thanks to artists like Lonnie Donegan. Now, the genre played a huge role in shaping British rock music. I'm a country fool, so rock doesn't tickle my fibery bones, but it influenced bands like the Quarrymen. Wonder where we've heard that before. Oh, I know. That's the little group that became known as the Beatles, the Fab Four. And that brings us full circle to another audience participation moment. I just love these. So as jubilation is moving into place, I have another short trivia question. It's short. You'll love it. A longtime Texas resident, Arnold Sherman, no relation, was a prolific composer of handbell music and has over 300 original and arranged pieces published. Sadly, the handbell ministry and the world said goodbye to Arnold in 2024. But his music lives on. Prayer is a piece published in 1999 and brings us to our audience participation point. So, can anyone tell me the year that it premiered at Pops? Anyone at all? Going once? Going twice? Time's up. The year was 2005. And Prayer premiered in the All the Bells and Whistles program. Now, before Jubilation presents this piece, I want to take a moment and introduce our Director of Student Ministries at First United Methodist Church, Mr. Taylor Orey. So, Taylor, if you would, come forward.
Well, good evening, and thank you for being here tonight. Like I said, my name is Taylor Orey, and I have the privilege of being the Director of Student Ministry here at First United Methodist Church of Round Rock. It's a big fancy title that basically means I get paid to play dodgeball and talk about Jesus. Here at our church, we have a focus of helping people of all ages, students included, to develop their faith and to really figure out what it means to live a life focused on Christ. In student ministry, we believe one of the core elements of that is getting people in environments where they can serve missionally. And so it's a big point in our program to offer opportunities for people to serve as the hands and feet of Christ. And every summer we take 2 mission trips, one for high school, one for middle school, where our students and adults get to go out and serve in different communities, oftentimes engaging in home repair work. Other times it looks a little bit different. But in all these opportunities, we tell them, you're going to have a chance to make a difference. What we don't tell them is that oftentimes the difference made in their own lives is even greater than the one they make in the lives of others. When you go on a mission trip, you experience things that you can't experience any other way. I know that because without mission trips, I wouldn't be standing here with you today. Tonight, all of your donations, all of your support go towards making mission trips possible for our students, both in this church and in our community. And so I hope that you will prayerfully consider donating towards student ministry mission trips. Now, if you would, please join me in a moment of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather and celebrate and enjoy life together this evening and every day. God, as we head into these next moments, allow us to enjoy the talents and gifts that you have put on display in front of us tonight. But also remind us that we have talents and abilities to make a difference in the lives of others. Help us to focus on how we can make your name known in whatever environment we are in. It's in your Son's name we pray. Amen.
There has been a little bit of everything tonight in this Pops 2025 program, so let me ask you this. Are you enjoying the show so far? Thank you so much. It means a great deal to hear your love and support when you applause for these ringers. They work hard at what they do to put these programs on for you. And believe me, it's a work of love. And to see and hear them is absolutely heart-pounding. So thank you for your support with that. Oh, I forgot to mention, we still have more. Now for something totally different. We went back into the Pops vault, and we dug into the riff, and we dug into a little raff, and we came up with another old-time favorite. Who would have thunk it? It's one of Jubilation's old favorite. That's the choir you see behind me. Clocks is a rock tune. If I didn't tickle you fancy, just hang on. You're going to love it. You are going to love it. The tune was written by Coldplay and transcribed for handbells by Keith Richards. That name should mean something to some of you. He happens to be one of the Raleigh Ringers. Have you ever heard of that group? Raleigh Ringers? Based in Raleigh, North Carolina. And they are one of the preeminent handbell groups in the country. Here's a little word of information for you. You ready for it? They're going to be on tour. And guess one of the dates that's going to happen and where that will excite you to no end. Let me break it to you gently. June 18th, 2025, the Raleigh Ringers will be live at First United Methodist Church in Round Rock, Texas. And you don't want to miss that show. Now, the ticket information, have we got that up there? Do we have that? I don't think we have that. Well, it'll come along soon enough, but I'll tell you what it is. And you can get it from their website. Now, this is a toughie. Website is rr.org. That's not humor, it's an actual website, rr.org. Simple enough. But the ticket prices are $25 for adults. Students and children are $16. And folks, we hope to see you there. It's going to be Wednesday, June 18th, and it will be an evening with the Raleigh Ringers. Wow, Joe and I are driving back just to be here for that. We hope we get to hug a few of you, share a little story with you, and enjoy the show. So, plan on that. Mark it on your calendars. Now, back to clocks. Jubilation debuted this piece in 2012 at Belzapalooza. Who names these shows? Wow. That one got me. But then again in 2016 at a little better named show called Let's Celebrate. Well, we hope you enjoy the 2025 rendition with Jubilation's Clocks. And that, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't noticed, is part of the dance routines that these choirs do. Some of these ringers have more moves than a disco dance at the night in the club that I used to host and MC as a radio announcer back in the 60s. Don't tell Brad I did that. I'll be in confession for a week. Now, here's the part of the show that just drives the guys in the audio booth nuts. Because I'm going to ask them to turn me down on this and turn me up on this. Did it work? Give a hand to the folks that control the audio and video. I'm going to tell you, before we started the show, Oz, who handles the cameras, asked me, that's not part of the show. That's extra. Doesn't cost you a thing. But Oz asked me, where are you going to be? And I said, Oz, I'm going to give you my most sincerest condolences. I'm going to drive you nuts because I'm going to be all over this auditorium. And that little guy just looked down at the floor and said, okay, I'll try to find you. He's done a spectacular job. And I thank them for the work that they do now. We've got another oldie goldie goodie for you. And she's not just standing here being pretty and all of that. There's something for her to do in the show. Isn't that exciting? Wow. Okay. What is it? I don't remember. Oh, yeah. It debuted in Pops 2017 at Reach for the Stars, and it's called Singing in the Rain. It's a classic tune that's best known from the 1952 movie of the same name. Hi, Allie. No, you got to come over here for a minute, because I'm not getting on that board. If I break that, the whole show is over. Just checking. Okay, now I'm going to hand the mic to you when you answer. So it's an audience participation thing just between you and me. It's coaching, folks. Work with us here. Okay. You're going to do Gene Kelly's iconic tap dance from Singing in the Rain, right?
Yes.
Are you nervous?
A little.
Good, because I'm scared to death. You see, I've never interviewed a professional tap dancer before. This is going to be a first for me. Wow. How long have you danced?
Since I was like 2, I think.
2?
No, it was 2 or 3.
She was very young. Why the board under your feet?
So that everybody can hear the tap sound.
You got taps? Well, Lord bless me and pass the biscuits. That's real taps. Okay. Thank you, Allie. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Allie McCoy and Jubilation as they ring and dance, Raining in the Rain. Singing in the rain. Well, whatever it is, it's in the rain. You weren't here for rehearsal last night. I tried that. Amy says, don't ever step on that board again. It was not pretty. I remember posing for this little guy back in 1950. He's a perfect image of me when I was younger. I was a little lighter green than this, but he's a friend. And he's important to us because he reminds us that all things from the past are not bad, even an ogre. And if you've ever been to Pops, you've seen small things and small groups do amazing things with a whole lot of bells. And they ain't lying. Now, last night I tried to interview these two because we thought that would be a really good thing to put in the show. And each time I interviewed, one of them would say, would you get out of the way? I'm trying to get this set up for the next show. And so I stepped out of the way and I'd ask the other one a question and she said what she said. And so I just gave up, and at the end of the show they brought me what they would have said had we done the interview. Here it goes. I want to tell you about the next handbell ensemble that will be performing. They are called Heart Rings, and they are a duet featuring Nancy Alvarez, she's very busy, and Mindy Barnett, who is overseeing. They made their debut together this past Christmas at Ring Noel. Nancy's been ringing handbells for over 50 years, and she's participated in duets, trios, quartets, and small ensembles for almost as long. Mindy's been ringing handbells for 17 years with all her time spent here at First Church Round Rock. That's pretty awesome. And that was just one question I asked them. In preparation for this song, these two ladies have put in over 40 hours of rehearsal time, and that doesn't include all the prep work that went into figuring out which bells and chimes are needed, when to mallet, when to ring, and all of the choreography. Are you kidding me? They've got choreography? Wow, that's right, choreography. That was just the second question I asked them. And I thought I was through. No, they said, go ahead, ask the other one. Please, ask the other one. Well, the piece they're going to be performing tonight is called All Star by a 90s alternative rock band called Smash Mouth. I don't get these names, but I don't make them up. I just read them. You may recognize this piece as it was the opening song in the movie Shrek. There you go, buddy. Back in 2001. 2001. Oh my gosh, that was almost 25 years ago. Now I know why y'all are playing this song. I'm a keen sense of the obvious, ladies. Mindy and Nancy want to especially thank, because it takes a special person to help them out with this, and that's Christine Peterson on the piano, who will be accompanying them tonight. And for that, they also will be using mallets. Mallets. You notice she has more than one in each hand. If you're worried, you can duck under the pews when the music starts. But they want to give a special thanks to Kenton Reynolds for helping them with their malleting technique, and you'll easily spot it. You are in for a real treat. Ladies and gentlemen, Heart Ring, and they're playing Something. Okay, you're hired. We'll take that show on the road. Wow. And the interesting thing in that whole thing, not once did the smile ever leave either one of them's face. Man. Our next group of 4 pieces all belong to the something borrowed category. We're working through that little thing. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue kind of thing. And it comes at an iconic time in its own right and was featured in the Apple TV series Ted Lasso. I don't watch Ted. Some of you probably do. And You'll Never Walk Alone is a show tune from the 1945 musical Carousel. And in this Ted Lasso series, the tune was reprised in an episode, The Hope That Kills You. Strange title. The piece plays at the end of the episode when Jamie Tart, one of the football players, opens a letter of encouragement from Ted Lasso, who was his former coach. Now, whether you know the tune from the series or from the musical, we hope you enjoy You'll Never Walk Alone. Next in our series is a piece from a 1969 film classic, Denture cream is a terrible thing to waste. Gosh. Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. It's titled Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Written by Burt Bacharach and Hal David, who wrote some powerful music back in the day, this being one of them. In the Ted Lasso series, the song appears in the Sunflowers episode where Jamie Tard is teaching Roy Kent how to ride a bicycle so they can go see a windmill when they visit Amsterdam. Tonight's arrangement has a little something extra. It features Joan Hetherington on clarinet, our very own Ray Frenette on bass. Sometimes you can see Ray when the bass is turned just right. And then there's Ian Bailey on drums. Wow, we hope you enjoy Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Now, I've watched pretty much everybody in this auditorium tonight, and I've seen on your faces that look that you really wanted to be a part of something great. Back when you were a teenager and you could get involved and you just felt excited because you were part of a big production. Well, guess what? Wish granted. You're going to get to sing along with the bells. I'm excited. Well, that wasn't much excitement. Try that again. I'm excited. There we go. Now, one of the great joys of a live performance is that we can adjust and include all of you as backup singers, and that's what we're going to do. And we're so very excited, but before you join our next Something Borrowed tune, you need to see what you're singing. Ladies? We brought out cue cards. We spared no expense for you folks. There's your words. You can't miss them. They're right there for you to sing out loud. And kids, you're welcome to outsing your parents. It's okay. Hey Jude is another classic Beatles tune that was first released in 1968. Paul McCartney wrote the song to comfort John Lennon after he left his son's mother for Yoko Ono. We're getting a little deep here. In the Ted Lasso series, Hey Jude is featured in the We'll Never Have Paris episode when Ted's son Henry is visiting him and Ted fears that his ex-wife is about to remarry. It ain't getting any better, is it? Watch for the cue and then sing along with gusto or whoever your neighbor is tonight. Youngsters, Like I said, outsing your parents. Here's Jubilation and Hey Jude. I'm sure glad they spent that $1.98 on those cue cards. That was great. Our last song of the Something Borrowed category was originally released in 1994 and performed by Mariah Carey, a name we all know. The song was used in the Ted Lasso episode during the Carol of the Bells as the cast was celebrating Christmas with different experiences. The closing scene is a street scene where the two main characters, Ted and Rebecca, bring along a street band and offer their song as a Christmas gift to the whole team in the neighborhood. Well, last fall, Council Oak Bells premiered the piece, transcribed for us by Ron Mallory, at the Sounds of Christmas, and it was one of the crowd's greatest hits. They loved it. And tonight, we're excited to bring it back to the program. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Council Oak Bells with Christmas, Baby, Please Come Home. We're entering the Something Blue portion of our program tonight. Jason Krug was inspired to write Pale Blue Dot when he saw the images from NASA 1's space probe, Voyager 1. In the vastness of space, the Earth appeared as a single, solitary blue dot. Jason said, and I quote, "The composition attempts to capture in melody and harmony some of the sentiments of our tiny space in the cosmos. Now, as you listen, you will hear sections ranging from ethereal and quiet through dissonance and imbalance, to a coming together in triumph, and finally ending in a prayer that humankind can set aside our differences and rally around our pale blue dot, Earth. End quote.
That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering. Thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines. Every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam.
And now for a totally different something blue. Blue skies. I'm stopping.
It's time. Taylor, are you still here? Taylor's not still here. I get just a minute. I know this concert has gone longer than we expected. There's a lot of music to cover, but I have one thing I need to do. You've probably noticed that we are not just handbell choirs, we're a family. We use different people to help in different places. You've probably seen several people in more than one choir tonight, and that's the beautiful thing about what we do. We not only make music together, we laugh together, we cry together, we share sorrows together, we share prayers together. It really is a family. It's not just a bell choir. And in doing so, we also celebrate. And tonight we're celebrating one of our very own, and he has no idea this is going to happen, and I'm going to be in trouble. But Clark Zanella got an acceptance to West Point Academy as a West Point cadet, and we want to celebrate tonight. Tommy, our quilter, has made you a quilt, Clark, and you need to come on down here. I know you're not going to be happy with me. We have a West Point quilt, and it's been signed by everybody in the handbell choir. That look, it's that look. Kill me later. Clark's father also attended West Point, and Clark will graduate 30 years to the day from when his father graduated. So I think that's pretty awesome. And you've just got to celebrate with your family. And Clark, we want you to know that our prayers, our thoughts, our love go with you. You will never be alone. You will always have us there. So congratulations. Now you can go.
What an amazing honor. Thank you. Now, unless she stops me again, we're going to do something totally different. Yeah, well, I know. And I don't care what Brad said about you earlier. I like you just like you are. Oh, it wasn't Brad. Wait a minute. I'm still confused. He's in a suit. What do I know? Blue Skies, composed by Irving Berlin way back in 1926. Some of us can remember it, some of us don't. And that's okay. It was part of Rodgers and Hart musical called Betsy. Now, although the show was not successful, the song was, and very successful. And it uses Bluebird of Happiness as a symbol of cheer. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but bluebirds all day long. You can remember that. Benny Goodman, Bing Crosby, and Ella Fitzgerald, some of the all-time greats, sang that piece of music, and it's alive in our memories to this very day. Sandra Tucker has transcribed a rip-roaring bell version, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. to that. But who knows, maybe they'll catch on shortly. We'll find out. It is, well, one of them is. I'm going to turn this one off. Go, and I'm still here. Well, humdy-dumdy. Now, this one, wait a minute. That one's coming from there. This one's coming from... They're going to talk next. That means we're in the history part, don't we? And nobody told me there'd be dessert. What am I doing up here? They're going to tell you a little bit about the history. Remember I told you in the front of the show there'd be a little history and sort of memories, and we want to find out about that? But we're going to spend the next 5 or 7 minutes or so, and we're going to hear them ramble on about history and memories and fun things in the Pops. Let me put this back for you. Oh, you just want it in your hand. I'm gone, ladies. Thank you very much.
Hello there. I'm Nancy.
Hello there. I'm Nancy.
Hi, I'm Nancy.
Yes. The three of us have been ringing handbells at First Church for over 30 years each. And this is our 25th Pops concert. There have been so many people that have come and gone over the years. And here are a few of our friends that we've made along the way. In 2001, Carla David had a vision of an annual spring handbell concert that would showcase the many, many, many talents of her handbell ringers. She wanted a relaxed, casual atmosphere where the audience and the ringers could share a meal, have some fun, make a friend, and have fellowship. I'm sure some of you remember those dinners where you were with envy watching your table mates unpack their homemade tamales, brisket, and the 4-layer chocolate cake while you nibbled on your KFC chicken leg and biscuit. But you knew that they were going to share that cake with you. You knew that. Fun, friendship, fellowship. She also wanted it to be a fundraising concert to benefit organizations or charities in the Round Rock community. So each year, with Carla's guidance, the ringers recommended a charity. They discussed it, and then they voted on it, and for a charity that they wanted to donate to. That was important to us, and Carla let us do that.
Some of the I always forget. Some of the organizations that were contributed to from POPs included the Backpack Coalition, Cystic Fibrosis Foundation, in memory of Amy Carpenter, Brandy's daughter. And in memory of my son, Matthew, Super Cooper, which benefits kids with cancer that are in for long stays in the hospital and tries to make their stay more pleasant. In memory of Dawn Kothman, who was Sheila Kothman's, I don't see Sheila, but she's there. Oh, she's on the chimes back there. Sheila Kothman's husband, the Head for the Cure, benefits people with brain tumors, not only children but adults as well. And another one was Table of Grace, that helps foster children, foster children that are older, that need a little bit more assistance because it's often hard for them to get placed. And
each year, Pops had a different theme. with a wide variety of music. We would play classical or country, Sinatra, to Coldplay, show tunes, and then variations on Soft Kitty. Now, if you missed that, I'm so sorry, because that really, of the whole 25 years, that was really the highlight. It was really priceless, yeah. And besides the 2 adult groups and the high school ringers, we also, of course, featured the duet and trio ringers. And we also had musical performances from special guests, which the audience seemed to really like.
Like Saya tonight.
Yes, yes. And there are so many memories about Pops. Do you want to share a memory?
Our first Pops concert was simply an evening at the Pops. Over the years, we had a wide variety of themes, such as Heart and Soul and Good Vibrations. The favorite theme by far, and the only one that was done twice, was the Handbell Hammies, which Nancy will show you the award, with Miss Piggy. We had a great time coming up with award categories.
It used to be a real ham.
We had the more traditional Best New Handbell Artists and the less traditional Best Song That Is Not #1, Best Adele Arrangement for Bells, and the Best Other Adele Arrangement for Bells, the Best Song That Makes You Hungry, and the Best Song About Dogs, which was awarded to Knick Knack Paddywhack Give a Dog a Bone.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Amazingly, every song that we had practiced on for months won a Handbell Hammy that year. In 2019, Pops was on May 4th. Our theme for Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you, was Out of This World. Oops, I forgot to do the clicker thing.
There you go. There it is.
Our theme for Star Wars Day. My son Sam was taking lightsaber classes at the time with John Satberry, a certified lightsaber instructor. So audience participation, how many knew that that was a thing? I didn't until he started taking them. Sam and his instructor choreographed a duel and practiced for months with lightsabers that had the Star Wars sounds. They dueled between the stage and the tables as we played a medley of Star Wars music. During the duel, Sam's lightsaber blade came off completely and kind of went flying. He and his instructor, they both stayed in character. Sam retrieved the blade and held it together. He was a Jedi, after all, and he defeated the evil Sith Lord. After the song was over and the director called them up to thank them, Sam took the mic, held up his broken handle of his lightsaber, and said, "Obi-Wan's going to kill me." It was awesome.
So when talking with past and present members of the Handbell Ministry, the most mentioned words when I asked what was their favorite thing about Pops was fun, friends, and fellowship. So I think Carla's vision of Pops was accomplished and continues today. We all love ringing handbells. It brings us joy. And I think most of us would ring even if we never performed in front of anybody. We would just work on a piece and make it to where it sound where we were happy with it and be content with that. But when we are in front of an audience and we receive thanks and appreciation and maybe get a hug from a member of the audience, that is just joy on top of joy. So thank you all so much for being here tonight. And we can't wait to start planning for our Golden Jubilee celebration in the next 25 years. So stay tuned.
One final thought from your Master of Ceremonies tonight. It has been my great honor, and with a grateful heart, that I stand alongside our founder, Carla David, our director, Amy Epperson, and the entire cast of tonight's program to give thanks for such a wonderful evening. And now, with a great blessing to all, we present the combined First United Methodist Church Round Rock Choir family and ministry ringing Silver Bells. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been celebrating 25 years of Pops. This has been Pops 2025. And here again, Senior Pastor Brad Brattain.
Let's give them another hand as they go out. Thank you.